Hey, welcome to Bionic Business, the podcast for online entrepreneurs ready to leverage AI and agents to move the needle and scale revenue and grow profits. There is a massive difference between the entrepreneurs winning with AI right now and those who are getting left behind. That difference is not luck. It is not who has the fanciest tool. It is not chasing hype, and is definitely not about mega prompts. The key difference is strategy. Knowing what to do, what to skip, and staying ahead. Let's get into it. At the end of the last episode, I told you that the businesses that are winning with AI and agents didn't get there through better prompts. Let me explain what I mean by that. A year, maybe 2 years ago, prompts were everything to people. People were selling prompt packs, 10,000 ChatGPT prompts for marketers, mega prompts with dozens of variables. And the idea was pretty simple, right? Like the right prompt equals the right output. Find the perfect prompt, win with AI. That was never true, and that era is also over. And I say that as someone who has a very specific prompting methodology that I teach. And prompts still matter as a communication layer. They're how you talk to AI, obviously, how you instruct it, and even how you instruct agents. But if your strategy is to find better prompts, then you're chasing the wrong thing. You're looking for the wrong solution to the problems that you have. Let me explain why. You and your competitor have access to the exact same models. ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, all of them. You got the same capabilities, same description, same everything. If you find a great prompt and your competitor gets their hands on it, or they just figure out their own prompt, which takes about 5 seconds, you're back to zero. Prompts are infinitely copyable. They're not a competitive advantage. They never were. They just felt like one to people who wanted to be busy because the technology was new and most people hadn't caught up yet. That window is closed. So if prompts aren't the advantage, then what is? Well, your data, your context, full stop. So your business has specific customer data and behavior patterns that nobody else has. You have performance history across your campaigns, your products, your channels. You have market research you've gathered, competitor intelligence you've collected. Hopefully you have your own IP, and you have your own frameworks and methodologies. That body of knowledge is unique to you. And that's what an AI and agent system should be built on. When you build around your context, your body of knowledge, your competitors can't just copy it. They don't have your customer insights. They don't have your performance history. They don't have your market position. So prompts are like the interface, necessary, but it's not the thing that'll matter. It's not the thing that'll help you win. The context, your data, that's the unfair advantage that you got to double down on. So in the old way of thinking about AI, people were asking what's the best tool, what's the perfect prompt. But the new way is what data and context do I have access to, and what should my system actually do with that data? That's the shift you got to make in your head. One way treats AI as something you use, which is the old way, and the new way treats AI as something you build into your operations. Let me make it a little bit more concrete so you can see it. In the old way, you open up Claude, you type in, something like, write me a 5-email welcome sequence for my SaaS product, targeting marketing managers. Maybe you add a few more details about who they are. Maybe you include a few examples of emails that have worked. You give it some sense, right? You give the model some information and some data, and then you hit enter. You get output. It's structured. It's competent. But it also reads a little bit like every other welcome sequence on the internet because it's drawing from the same general training data as everyone else's prompt. 2 problems with that. First, your competitor can type the exact same prompt or any other prompt and get essentially the same output. Second, you have to do this manually every single time. There's no learning, there's no improvement, and next month or next quarter, you're starting from scratch again. But in this new way that you need to adopt moving forward, You need to have a system that pulls performance data from your ESP. Every email you've sent for the past year, 6 months, whatever the timeline is, open rates, click rates, revenue per email, unsubscribe patterns. It should know which subject lines your specific audience responds to and what call to actions convert, and then in which emails in your sequence have people dropping off or which ones drive action. It looks at the language your best customers use in support tickets and sales calls, the actual words they use to describe their problems. And then this system generates email copy informed by all of that data and context. Your performance data, your audience's language, and your conversion patterns. Your competitor can't copy that. They don't have your email history. They don't know what your audience responds to truly, and they don't have your customer's language. The system is built on assets that are yours alone, meaning the system is built on the context and data that is yours. And used properly, it gets better every cycle, which a prompt can never do on its own. So I want to make this a little bit more tangible because, build around your data and context sounds pretty abstract. So let me explain to you what you're probably sitting on, because most businesses don't realize how much they have. If you're in e-commerce, your context would be things like purchase history, product performance by SKU, customer reviews, return patterns, app performance data, seasonal trends specific to your store. You have data on what people buy together, what brings them back, what they say about your product in their own words. If you're running an agency, your context would be things like client results across every account you've managed, what messaging worked for which verticals, campaign performance data going back years, your delivery process, frameworks, SOPs, like what a winning campaign looks like for for example, a B2B SaaS client versus a D2C brand, because you've run both, right? If you're in SaaS, we're talking about usage patterns, churn signals, support ticket themes, onboarding drop-off points, feature adoption rates, all that stuff. You know exactly where users get stuck and where they get value. If you're an expert or consultant or in publishing and so on, it is the questions your clients ask over and over again, the breakthroughs they have, the language they use before and after and during working with you. You might have months or even years of calls, testimonials, and results data. So all of this is sitting in your business right now, in your ESP, your CRM, your Slacks, your support inbox, your call recordings, analytics dashboard. It's all there. You're just probably not feeding it into anything. And that's the waste, right? People spend hours engineering prompts to get better output from generic training data when they have a goldmine of proprietary context that they've never touched. I talked about sales calls just now, and so think about that for a second. If you're running any kind of service business, or really a SaaS, like wherever there are recorded calls, even as an expert, you probably have dozens or maybe even hundreds of recorded sales calls and the transcripts. You got records of objections a prospect raised, every piece of language they used to describe the problem, every reason someone said yes and every reason someone said no. That data and context is worth more than any prompt pack ever created. A system, an AI and agent system built on that context can prep you for calls or your team for calls. It can draft proposals that mirror your winning patterns. It can identify why deals stall out. So a prompt just kind of gives you a generic template of all of that. But an agent system or an AI system with all of that baked in becomes predictive. It becomes powerful. It learns with every cycle, and you will increase your close rates because of it. So it's not a philosophical shift of mindset, right? It's very practical. You already have the raw material. Even if you don't have a ton of it, you have some of it. You just need to start thinking of it as the fuel for your AI and agent systems instead of something that sits in a dashboard or a folder somewhere. Okay? So at a high level, here's what you should be thinking about when you think about AI in your business. Number one, input. This is your business context, data, intelligence flowing into the system. This is the raw material. Without it, AI and agents are just generic, outputs and generic tasks from generic training data. Nothing special, nothing unique, nothing that gives you an advantage. 2, processing. AI reasoning about your specific situation. So you're not following a prompt template, but you are actually working with your context to produce something informed by your reality. 3, action. Output that's shaped by everything above. Copy, analysis, decisions, recommendations, whatever the use case is. The point is that it's contextual and not generic, and you're getting things done instead of just getting text output back. It's great to get text output, but what do you do with it? Something's got to happen inside your business for it to make any sense. 4, reflection. This is the piece that almost every online entrepreneur misses. The system looks at what worked and what didn't and feeds that back into the next cycle. This is what creates compounding improvement. Without reflection, you're just producing. But with it, you're producing and getting better. Input, processing, action, reflection. That's the loop. A prompt gives you processing. Probably not even action, right? But a system gives you all 4. And that's why systems compound and prompts do not. So finally, the system that I just described, the one with research flowing in, contextual processing, informed output, and a learning loop, that's not something that you wire together with a prompt or 2 and then a zap, right? What I'm describing is an agent system. That's an AI system that can reason about your business context, make decisions, take actions, and learn from the results. We're talking about multiple agents coordinating together, each handling a piece of that loop. And that's where we're going next. In the next episode, I'm going to break down what agents and automations actually are, why they're also different from generic automations, and how a full loop architecture works in practice. I'll walk through the specific components and show you how they coordinate across your business, whether that's in ads, sales, marketing, operations, customer service, or fulfillment, or whatever else you got. So today we cover the mindset shift. This is the foundation. And then what comes next is the architecture for building. See you in the next episode. Thanks for listening. If you want to stay ahead of what's happening in AI and agents and know what to pay attention to and applying it all to your business before your competitors figure it out, you got to subscribe to the Bionic Business newsletter. I'm in the trenches every day exploring, testing, and implementing this for my own projects and for real businesses. I only share what works and tell you what doesn't. Links in the show notes, or go to bionicbusiness.com and sign up. If you have questions or something landed differently for you, just send me a message. I read them all. See you in the next episode.